First of all, I think there are people who are peacefully expressing themselves in the streets, that are people that have been badly affected by the pandemic. We have to recognize that last year we had a negative growth of minus 6%, maybe the biggest recession in our recent history. So there are people that have been affected, primarily youngsters and women that have been affected by unemployment. And yeah, we have tried to provide many social safety programs to attend the impacts of the pandemic. But nevertheless, there are people who are expressing themselves peacefully. The second thing is we've seen in many cities vandalism, low intensity urban terrorism, and attacks to infrastructure, to the public transportation systems. And obviously, we have to ensure law and order. And we've also seen blockades that some people have tried to apply in different parts of the country, basically to sabotage the economic recovery or to affect the provision of goods and services in many regions. We have seen levels of confrontation, especially in the city of Cali. And yes, what we have always said, if there's any conduct of a member of the public force that goes beyond the law, not only we express our contempt, but we want to have rapid investigations and sanctions. So that zero tolerance policy is in place. People have been killed in the following days, but there's an investigation going on so that it clearly determines whether those killings are related to the protest. Peaceful protest is a right according to our constitution. But no violence, no blockades, no affection to the rights of the Colombian people can be tolerated in our nation. Colombia has a police that is very rigorous in the way they proceed in all their actions. This is a police that on an annual basis basically undertakes more than 30 million police procedures. Are there cases of abuse within 30 million police procedures? Yes, they are. They might be. But we not only condemn, but we investigate and we sanction. Peaceful protests have been maybe the general scene that we have seen in Colombia. We have seen more than 3,000 protests in the last month, and we have seen thousands of protests in the last 10 years in Colombia. I would say most of them have been peaceful protests. Nevertheless, there are cases where inside the peaceful protest, people get infiltrated with the idea of generating riots. So, for example, many of the interventions that have taken place in Bogota recently is because we have seen people that wanted to have access brutally to our capital, exactly as the case that we saw in the United States. Well, that ain't no peaceful protest. If somebody wants to enter by force to a restricted area or governmental area, well, that it's no peaceful protest. And that's why the police have to act. I mean, you can see people in Washington, D.C. protesting. I lived there for 14 years. I've seen many protests in the United States, but know very well what the difference is between a protest and a riot. But something that it's interesting in the conversation is that, yes, I think as a society, we have to consider that only 4% of the Colombian population pays income tax. Only 4% of the Colombian population pays income tax.
So, only 4% of the whole population pays income tax?
Yes,
Really?
yes, yes.
Now, why is that? Why is that?
Because I think for many, many years, we haven't been able to have a discussion on how important it is to gradually expand the base. And I think that discussion is, yes, it is a discussion that ought to be made. And I think we tried to present a gradual process to expand the base, since with 4% of the population paying income tax, it's going obviously always going to have a higher burden on those who generate employment. That that debate was created, but I saw that it was being used to infuriate people. And we basically, but let me finish this. So we decided to withdraw this 15 days ago. 15 days ago. So for many people, then okay, well, fair, it was withdrawn. Now let's look for other reasons. And I think there are people who are genuinely expressing themselves in the street with sentiments about how they feel and how they have been affected by the pandemic. But there are also people who have been behind many of these blockades and many political leaders that want to capitalize the situation, that they don't have a reason for to express why they promote blockades in the country. Because I just don't get it. If we want to reduce poverty, the only way we can reduce poverty is with economic growth. The only way you can have economic growth is having pure mobility and exchange of goods along the country, and especially since we came out of the recession and we had a growth on the first trimester. So the question is, who really doesn't want the country to progress? Who really doesn't want the country to move along? Who really wants not the vaccines to move with the velocity that is needed? So there, it's the question mark on why we have to reject the blockades. Beyond any dispute, beyond any ideological debate, there's some principles, there's some goals that are on the benefit for our Colombian society. So those challenges for the year 2021 is that it has to be the year of economic recovery. It has to be the year of massive vaccination. It has to be the year where we continue to protect the poorest of the poor. And it has to be the year where we have the most ambitious program to attend the needs of the youngsters in Colombia.